Welcome back to Face the State. I'm Ariana Bennett. Thank you for keeping it here. Now, the concept of fact-checking everything you see or read is daunting, even for people who are trained to do it. But that doesn't mean the average person can't take a few basic steps to shield themselves from the worst offenders. So I'm back with Aaron Sharockman, Executive Director of PolitiFact. Aaron, thank you again for your time.
Love it.
Now, I feel like, and I've said this for a long time, journalism school is such an amazing thing just for like media literacy and being able to kind of function in a world where you can take in information but not necessarily have it ingrained in your like this is true bucket right away. And I think that it's a shame that we can't do that at every level of education. Sure. There are skills though that everyone can learn.
Oh, absolutely. So I think it's funny. When I think about media literacy, I look at, there's actually some interesting studies, and it started by figuring out who were the best at this, and not to toot the horn of journalists, but what we do on a daily basis is actually very effective as a media literacy strategy. The first thing I would say, when you see something online that you don't agree with, you are naturally skeptical, and you will do a lot of research to prove that thing wrong. Right? And you might even comment on your friend's Facebook page saying that's wrong and here's 4 links and all of that. That's really good, that's really healthy. Where we fail is all too often when we see something that we agree with. We don't have, our neurons aren't firing the same way, we don't have the same reaction. And so it's way easier for us to say, oh yeah, that's true, I believe that, and you kind of fall back to your default positions. We need to develop the defense mechanisms when we see things that are true to match the things that we see that we don't think are true. And that's really the first big lesson, which is like, take a minute when you see something that you think is true because it might not be. Mm-hmm. And in fact, the bad guys, whether they're malicious in their intention or not, are good at sending you the things that you agree with because they want you to interact with them. Right now on Facebook or X or wherever, you actually incentivize, sometimes with money, to get posts going viral. And so the easiest way to do that is to engage people who with things they believe in, because they'll like, they'll share, they'll comment. We need to develop the mechanism to take a little pause. There's also a lot of other techniques that I'd love to talk about things that any person can do to kind of get them 95% correct like every time. It's that simple.
It's the healthy skepticism, I think, that you apply to all incoming information, not just, like you said, the things that you disagree with or agree with. I always say to my students, I call it the maybe bucket. Like, if someone brings you new information, you don't have to put it in the I agree or I don't agree bucket. The like, this is now canon or absolutely not bucket. You can put it in this like limbo, the maybe bucket, and then we're gonna take it out of the maybe bucket eventually when we have time, and we're gonna assess whether it needs to go in here or over here. And I feel like we all need a very healthy sized maybe bucket. And I think that the general population who doesn't have to do this for their job every single day just hasn't quite developed that.
Yeah, I mean, the way I think about it is, let's talk about social media for a second. If you go on X or Facebook or Instagram, everything looks exactly the same, right? And so there are no visual cues to anyone scrolling through any of those social media platforms to say, this is definitely true, this is definitely false. And so we need to find those cues in other ways. And one of the key techniques that we talk about is called lateral reading. So if you went onto Facebook and you clicked on a link and you opened that page, you can read a story. Most people will read up and down. Maybe you'll click on another story on that page. Maybe even if you're really dedicated to finding if it's true or not, maybe you click on the About Us. But all you've done is stayed vertically on that page, which means if those are good guys, okay, great, you got all good information. But if they're bad guys, they have tricked you and you don't know anything. You don't know anything more. You don't know anything about the website. You don't know what other people are saying about the website or the story that you read. And so the basic technique that we teach is called lateral reading. So you open a link on Facebook again. The first thing you could do, even before you read the story, is, it's about XYZ. Well, just Google that. Put it in a Google search to see what are other people saying about this. And then if you want to be really advanced, okay, this link comes from this website. Well, Google that website. What are people saying about it? You do those 2 steps, you're going to be in a much better position to kind of understand the relative truth of something. I'm not saying like you're going to be able to be like, 100% true, guaranteed, but you'll begin to understand it. everybody makes decisions about content they're more likely to trust or not. So for me, I trust the New York Times. So if I see a story in the New York Times, I know to trust it. But I will also say, if I'm reading a New York Times story and they use unnamed or anonymous sources, I'm going to choose to trust it a little less. It doesn't mean that I don't trust it, but I'm saying they're withholding information from me, so therefore I'm going to trust this story just a little bit less. So it's all these split little decisions that they don't take a lot of time. It's not like you have to sit down and like it's going to be an hour of research. But if you do these tasks, these little things, you're going to be in a much better position at understanding what's coming to you, why, and whether or not you should trust it completely or if it's in the maybe bucket.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting too, if you are a person who has your preferred source, to then make the effort to just like go to something else.
Right.
And okay, so say CNN or Fox News or MSNBC, that's your go-to. Try the other two.
Yeah.
And same topic. And read it with an open mind and think to yourself, which pieces did they keep, which pieces did they leave out, which pieces did they emphasize? It's a really interesting exercise in seeing how when you have a bit of an agenda, which I think is the case in these a lot of the time, how can we make a story sound a way versus another way? And again, just building that healthy skepticism so you're not just immediately redistributing.
Yeah.
This becomes really complicated, I think, when we talk about deep fakes, AI-generated content. I was gotten recently with a post I saw online, and it was this video that looked so convincing, and it wasn't anything serious. It wasn't about politics or anything, but I immediately sent it to my husband and was like, check this out. And he wrote me back, and he was like, that's AI.
It's happened to the best of us, number one, so it's fine.
No, it got me. So how do you handle that with fact-checking, that sort of thing?
So first of all, the AI technology is getting really good. And so if we were having this conversation a year ago, I would have said, look at the number of fingers, look at their eyes, they look kind of weird. Like, look around their mouth, does it look weird? The technology is progressing so fast that we're losing those kind of easier cues to kind of figure out if something is true or fake. So that puts us in a bad spot. So I think what I would suggest is a couple things. One, don't give up. The most important thing here is the bad guys want us to say, I throw my hands up, I can't tell anything that's true from anything that's false, I'm done trying, right? Because the moment we're done trying, they win, and then we don't have a shared foundation of facts where we can have conversations about. So we need to keep trying. In the professional fact-checking world, what I would say is the AI is really good, and the things of consequence, people do come in very quickly and say, no, that's not real, through like the professional way that we do our journalism, or yes, that is real. And so there is kind of an early warning system that still exists. So, you know, we were worried in 2020 and again in 2024 that this type of video would like shape the election, right? Or we worried that, oh gosh, we're going to go to a war over an AI video. I don't think that's going to happen. Not anytime soon, and not in a way that I'm worried about. What I am worried about is it's just kind of like messing with our mind in a way that we just don't know what to believe, we can't believe, and so we don't believe anything. So again, one, take a pause. Two, think about why would this information be coming to me, whether it's on my TikTok feed or Instagram feed or Facebook feed. Would I naturally agree with it? You know, like, and you just kind of have to live that life, not in a way that it's like, you know, you're always like questioning everything. Like, I don't want people to be like that. I want people to be hopeful, right? But I do think we have to be cognizant of that fact. It is much harder today, right? When I can't believe things that I necessarily hear or see, it's tough. And I understand that could be daunting to a lot of people, but I would say we got to keep doing the steps. We're the reality-based community where we vet and we think through all the ideas that we're seeing, and over time, the good ideas will win, the good content will win, the bad ideas, the bad content will get pushed aside. I believe it.
I hope you're right. I sincerely hope you're right. It would be better. Okay, any other bit of advice? We have just a couple minutes left before we are out of time.
Sure. So number one, I would say, subscribe and follow PolitiFact, right? We present a lot of good content, whether it's health content, immigration content, about tax policy. These are things that I think will affect your daily life. So I think there's a lot of good content we create that you can kind of use to benefit yourself. Number two, if you see something, anyone sees something that they think is true or false, they can't figure it out, use us as the resource. Send us tips. Truthometer@politifact.com. We'd love to fact check the work because we know if you're asking about it, 10 people are asking about it, and if 10 people are asking about it, 1,000 people are asking about it. When it comes to kind of what you could do yourself, the one other thing I would really stress is we're going to come up, we're going to have conversations with our family. It happens all the time. And there's always that dinner where there's crazy Uncle Larry who's like saying things that you're like, that's not right, that's not true. And I included, have this natural kind of disposition to be like, I'm going to let it go. Don't let it go, engage. Don't be mean, don't say, that's stupid, you're false. But say, let's go on the investigation together. Let's go on the journey together. What are your sources? Here's mine. Have that conversation.
I love it. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate you. That is it for this episode of Face the State. But for more information or to see past episodes, you can head to 2news.com. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next week.